Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Curry, one-on-one, Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown. The three, steps back, crossover, puts up a three. Rebound James. Second. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
Cleveland! This is for you!
What up, Cavs fans? Welcome to another edition of The Block, the Shot to Stop. I am Kevin Lynch here to do a little bit of a recap of round one before we move on and get ready for the Pacers here in round two. I kind of wanted to take a few minutes, look at a few things and say, like, what did we learn about the Cavs in this round one? I mean, it was an awesome round one, especially games 3 and 4. Cavs played at the top of their efficiency. It was incredible, but I want to kind of look at some of the tendencies and things of the Cavs and kind of give us an idea what we might expect in round two. So I got 6 things here. We'll go through all of them real quick, and then we're going to move on to the Pacers. So number one, Kenny sticks to his guns. That was a big thing that a lot of people talked about. Like once the playoffs starts, is Kenny going to stick to the rotation that he has done all year, or is he going to lean more on his starters, increase their minutes, maybe squeeze a couple guys out of the rotation, reduce their minutes? And for the most part, he did exactly what he's done all year. He played 8 guys between 20 and 31 minutes. Guy who played the most minutes on the team was actually Darius Garland, 31.3, but he obviously only played 2 of the 4 games. Some of that was obviously affected by the blowouts in games 3 and 4. A few of the guys, obviously, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, would have seen their minutes increase had those not happened. But for the most part, he stuck to the same rotations. He brought Ty Jerome and DeAndre Hunter in at the 6-minute mark of the first quarter. He made the same kind of rotations at the start of the substitutions at the end of the third and first quarters, beginning of the second, fourth quarters that he's done all year long. He stayed exactly to his game plan, and you can't fault him for it. The Cavs had been so good this year, kind of using their depth to their advantage. And why would you not want to do that in the playoffs? So I thought it was really interesting. We'll see if maybe it was a matchup thing, and maybe next round, if the games are more competitive, that minutes may be a little bit differently distributed. I wouldn't be surprised if that were to happen, but I do think Kenny's going to stay to his plan, at least in the first half of games, and use the depth, the 9-10 guys every single game. Number 2, that telling you something that everybody already knows. This is Donovan Mitchell's team. He was absolutely incredible in the 2 games they needed him to be incredible at. Games 1 and 2 had 30 points both games, incredibly efficient, huge in the fourth quarters. Especially game 2 when the Cavs frankly played their worst game of the series by far. The offense really stagnated there in the second half, and Donovan Mitchell just kind of saved them. Even more so than the numbers, honestly, if you looked at his series numbers, they're almost identical to what he did in the regular season. Nothing crazy sticks out. It's more of an eyeball test. That this is Donovan Mitchell's team, in the essence that he is the leader off the court. He is the emotional leader. He's the one who gets the crowd involved. He's the one who picks guys up when they need to be picked up. He's the one who calms them down when they need to be calmed down. And he's the one where when you get in sticky situations like he did in game 2, they still look to him for all of the offensive firepower they have on this team. When things get tough, they're still going to look to Donovan Mitchell. And he absolutely responded. And you can tell he relishes this stuff. And from both seeing him on the court and in his interviews, he knows this is his best chance by far to win a championship. I know he was the number 1 seed in Utah one year, but he knows this team is special. And he knows if he fills the role that this team needs him the most, that they have a chance to do something incredible and go all the way this year. So I would watch out, like in kind of the Pacer series, does Donovan Mitchell get a little bit more aggressive than he was throughout, especially to start the games, but more so like just seeing how Donovan Mitchell will do whatever this team needs him to win and to be effective. And there's no doubt, I think one day soon, Evan Mobley will be the best player on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Maybe it's already happened, but I still think this is going to be Donovan Mitchell's team. I think Donovan Mitchell is the absolute engine of this team. He's the heart, he's the soul, and the team is going to go as far as he takes them. Not only, statistically and play on the floor, but how he lifts them up as the leader of the team. And what he can do to kind of bring them to the promised land. And I feel really good about Donovan Mitchell being that guy for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Third thing I want to talk about, my favorite subject, Ty Jerome is ready for this moment. He was absolutely incredible in round one. He had a bad game in round two, but the other 3 games and the series numbers overall, absolutely incredible. He averaged just over 16 points, his regular incredible high efficiency. Looking through his stats, like the biggest thing that stands out, he has an assist to turnover ratio of 9.6 to 1. 9.6 to 1. And I will tell you, the team with the highest or the best assist to turnover ratio in the playoffs is the Indiana Pacers at 2.73 to 1. So Ty Jerome is like almost 4 times as good, protecting the ball as the best team has been in the playoffs so far. The guy, on a recent podcast with Skylar, I told him he just needed to take over because I'm running out of things to say about him. But his efficiency in this series, particularly in games 1, 3, and 4, was off the charts. It was even better than it was throughout this season, where he was the most effective player. Like game 3 in particular, 13 points, 11 assists. I know I said this on a previous podcast, but he accounted for 41 points by scoring or assisting in 21 minutes play. That's like unheard of to do that level of efficiency. I really, don't know what else to say. The other thing is he improved his game defensively. He was averaging a steal a game in this series or in the series against Miami. And you could tell he was digging in. His rebounding numbers were up from the regular season. Like, he is just absolutely locked in. He even got a block shot. It might've been his first block shot of the year. But he is so locked in and so ready for this. Indiana will be a real test for him because they have so many good perimeter defenders, but I'm not doubting Ty Jerome anymore. Ty Jerome is ready to make his impact on this playoffs. He was incredible in round 1. I expect him to be incredible in round 2. And let's just all enjoy it and stop looking for reasons that this is gonna stop happening, that he's gonna stop being this good. He's just this good. Let's celebrate it. And also, let's not worry about if he's going to be a Cav next year or not. We obviously all want him to be, but let's enjoy him in this playoff run because it's awful enjoyable if you just sit back and watch. Number 4 thing, the Cavs defense is better than it's been all season. I like the numbers bear this out, but a lot of it is just watching that series against Miami. Miami is not the most potent offensive team, but they do have good players. Tyler Hero is a very good offensive player. Bam Adebayo is a very good player. Davion Mitchell has been playing incredible. So while I would not have expected this Heat team to be dropping 130 a game on the Cavs, the level that the Cavs locked them up was pretty incredible. So some of the stats, their defensive rating, they're second in the playoffs. Defensive rebound percentage, third. Steals, they're seconds. Holding Miami to getting only 10 points a game off turnovers. Points in the paint, they're allowing the third fewest points in the paint. Go on down the line, and they just were able to dictate what Miami does on offense as a defense. And that's very rare in the NBA. The NBA is an offensive league, right? So it's very rare that the defense kind of, tells the offense what you're going to be able to try and do here because we're taking this, and this away. Obviously the Cavs have the defensive player of the year in Evan Mobley, and he was a huge part of that. I thought he was all over the place in round 1. While his offensive production was maybe a little bit below what you would have thought, defensively, he was everywhere. He was flying around. He was defending just as well in the perimeter as he was in the paint. Jared Allen was also fantastic. I mean, the two of them together, the way they protected the paint and just would not allow Miami to get easy shots inside. For as great as Evan is, and I feel like we've all got on the Evan for defensive player of the year hype train. Let's not forget that Jared Allen is a high level interior defender as well. So having the two of those guys playing at the top of their level defensively just changes the algorithm for the Cavs on what they can do. They can be so much more aggressive, running teams off the 3-point line. They were also like second best 3-point percentage defense in this first round. Again, Miami, not the greatest 3-point shooting team, but not a bad one either. They're about middle of the pack in the NBA. And so, the defense all starts with not only Evan Mobley, but Jared Allen. The one other guy defensively I want to shout out, it's the guy, I said it on a recent show that I think the guy we probably don't talk about enough the most is Max Strus. Max Strus was incredible defensively in round one. He made Tyler Hero's life absolutely miserable. He was the primary defender on Hero, I would say, in the series. He didn't have him 100% of the time, but he was the guy they really trusted to stick to Hero, especially at the start of games. And he was just so active. He put so much energy into the defensive end and into the rebounding. He was incredible in that series. He averaged like 4 rebounds a game, but the games they need him, he had like 7, 8, 9 rebounds. And he, was so good at closing out hard on 3-point shots without fouling. I just thought Max raised his game. I think he's an underrated defender to begin with. I think he's a solid defender. I think he was much better than that in round one, and something I want to look at in round two, because if this holds, he's going to, at least for long stretches of the game, be the primary defender on Tyrese Halliburton. So if that is the case, I want to see if Max can be close to as effectively against Indiana as he was against Miami. And if he is, that's a huge point for the Cavs for winning this series. All right. Number 5 thing I want to talk about. The rotation for the most part was about what we expected. I think the one surprise was the trust that Kenny put in Sam Merrill. Sam Merrill played 21 minutes a game. He started the 2 games that Darius Garland didn't play. And we kind of suspected like Sam could be the guy who gets pushed out of the rotation in the playoffs. Not because of anything he did, just because of what this team needs. And, the top 7 guys in front of him, we all know who those are. They're going to be the mainstays. They're all going to get their minutes, the 5 starters plus Jerome and Hunter. And the question was, who's going to get those leftover minutes between Sam Merrill, Isaac Okoro, Dean Wade, and anybody else on the bench? But really, it's just those 3. And for Sam to average so many more minutes than Dean Wade and Isaac Okoro, Dean averaged 12, Isaac 11. They both played a lot less in the games that were the closest, games 1 and 2. So I was really surprised. And, I'm not going to do it in a way where I'm going to take anything away from Dean Wade or Isaac Okoro. I think those guys are great role players on this team. I think they both have had kind of uneven seasons because of injury and uneven seasons as far as shooting the ball. And I'm assuming Kenny's thought process was, we know Sam Merrill might be the best shooter on this team. Forget percentages, just ability to shoot the 3-point shot. And his defense has improved enough that we don't have to, just focus on defense in these rotations. Let's instead maximize our offense and still have quality defense. And Sam was really, really good. He was matched up with Tyler Hero at times. He was matched up with Davion Mitchell, who has been really good with the Heat, was pretty good in the series, but the Cavs kept him from going crazy. And Sam is a very underrated defender. I mean, because he's a white guy from Utah that looks like he's a white guy from Utah, you just don't expect him to be a really good defender in the NBA. But he's crafty. He's more athletic than you would think, and he gives such high level effort. So maybe I shouldn't have been as surprised that Sam was so favored when it came to the rotation, but I think he took advantage of it. He didn't have his greatest series in the world as far as shooting ball. I mean, he shot 39% from 3, had a couple good games scoring the basketball, but I think he has earned Kenny Atkinson's trust, and I don't think he did anything to diminish that trust in Miami. So I'd expect him to play close to another 20 minutes a game in Indiana, unless Kenny decides for some reason to go another way. The last thing I want to talk about, The Cavaliers offense is back. Their offense was incredible the whole series. The only time the offense wasn't great was the second half of game 2. But if you look at the numbers, their offensive rating in the series against Miami was 136.2. To put that in perspective, the Cavs led the league at like 121, 122. So they are that far above above what was the best offensive rating in the regular season. Not only that, but almost every other team's offensive rating went down in the playoffs. The next highest offensive rating was, I believe, Indiana, but it was 118. Like that gap, I can't even describe to you how big that gap is. The Cavs were the one team in the NBA playoffs so far that their offense got better, even significantly better in the playoffs. You look around, just look at the box scores. There's so many, 101 to 95 games. How many of those games did you see in the regular season? Not many. Most teams are scoring in the 110s, 120s. And offense is king in the NBA, but all of a sudden the playoffs happen. They're like the physicality heats up for whatever reason. Maybe guys tense up and the offensive numbers go down. Not with the Cavs. Some of the other things I thought stood out. They were second in assist to turnover ratio, protecting the ball. Incredible. A huge one. Number 1 in the playoffs for rebound percentage. This is a team, and we talked about throughout the year, rebounding was maybe one of the most disappointing things about this Cavs team this year. You figure with Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, a lot of guys who give high level efforts, that the Cavs would be a top 10, maybe top 5 rebounding team. They weren't. They were middle of the pack, even below average in rebounding. So for them to then become the number 1 team in the playoff by rebounding percentage, it shows you such a high level of focus and concentration, and effort. I thought all 3 things were so abundantly clear with the Cavs that they were going to really focus on things that maybe hadn't been their strength as much this year, and make sure that wasn't a reason for them to kind of stall out here in the playoffs. Other things. You pick a stat for this team in the playoffs, but they effective field goal percentage 63.0. The next best is 58. The true shooting 66.5. Next best is 61. It's just incredible. The 3-point shooting, they were 44% on 3-pointers in round 1. The next best team was Indiana at 39%. This was the Cavs offense from the first couple of months of the year, where it was so far and above any other offense in the NBA. And as the season wore on, and as they had rough stretches for them, not rough stretches by NBA standards, but rough stretches for them, they came down, the rest of the pack came back to them, where they still led the NBA in several offensive categories or were near the top of others. But now that crater size gap in the offensive statistics is back between the Cavs and the rest of the NBA playoff teams. So I think these are all things to be really encouraged by, especially the offense, because while Miami's not the best offensive team, they are a very good defensive team. I know the whole pick on Tyler Hero thing. Tyler Hero is not a good defender. We know that, but they have a lot of really good defenders in that team. Plus they have arguably the best coach in the NBA, Eric Spoelstra. They're always scheming up things. You would have thought that the Cavs would have struggled more offensively than they did. The fact that they were so good offensively against the Heat, who are a better defensive team in Indiana, I expect this next series to be an absolute shootout, where the Cavs offense kind of does exactly what it did in this Miami series. And then it's a matter of, can their defense sustain against Indiana, who is going to be a much more explosive offensive team than the Miami Heat. So those were the 6 of the things that stood out to me the most in the series against the Heat. An absolutely incredible series for the Cavs, especially games 3 and 4. Games 3 and 4, they won by a combined 92 points. That does not happen in NBA playoffs, even in 1 versus 8 matchups. Absolutely incredible way for the Cavs to kind of bust down the door and let everybody know they are for real. They are here to compete for a championship in these playoffs. And I expect them to do that against Indiana. We're going to do a preview episode before the series starts, so I'll save that for any, projections or predictions or anything like that. But I would take some of the things we talked about here, particularly the offense and the defense, the individual performances by Ty Jerome, Kenny Atkinson's strategy, and let's see if all of that maintains in the Indiana series. And if it does, if they play as well as they did against the Heat, I expect them to take care of the Indiana Pacers. So for that, thank you so much for wrapping up round one with me, and maybe one of the best playoff series in Cleveland Cavaliers history. And we will move on to the Indiana series, which starts on Sunday. We will have a preview episode out hopefully tomorrow. So for that, for Skylar's not here, Tim's not here. So I guess for me, have a good night. And as always, go Cavs.